네, 어제 일론 머스크는 풀 셀프 드라이빙 버전 12, 이게 완전 새로운 버전이거든요. 이 새로운 버전의 인공지능 자율주행 라이브 스트리밍을 진행했습니다. 벌써 조회수가 3,500만을 넘어가고 있어요. 그리고 이전 버전인 v11까지는 베타라는 이름을 붙였는데 이번 12 버전에서는 베타라는 이름을 빼겠다 라는 말을 할 정도로 정말 많이 바뀌었다는 걸 알 수가 있었습니다. 그리고 이번 스트리밍 같은 경우는 40분이 넘었는데 제가 핵심만 딱 10분으로 요약했고 마지막에는 어떤 점이 바뀌었는지 간단하게 요약 및 정리를 하도록 하겠습니다. 그럼 영상 함께 시청하시죠.
Leaving Tesla headquarters, and we just dropped a random pin at Stanford or whatever. We can clear that though, and I don't know, we can pick it. I'll just whatever. AI end to end. Let's see how it does. So let's go. Well, let's see. Okay, so here we're kind of added to kind of random spots. That's going to be pretty wobbly, but it's really smooth sailing in the car itself. And here we're encountering some construction, and the car is just driving around the construction. So it has never seen this construction before. It is near the headquarters, but this construction is relatively new. I mean, obviously it's a little boring because we're at a red light. And there's a lot of traffic at this time. So I don't want to bore people to death here, but we're just sitting at a red light in Palo Alto. Yeah, I think like the videos like this are maybe more interesting if they're edited and sped up. Yeah. Let's see, I'll try to answer comment. Man, this is a long rant. Well, the car is patiently waiting for the car light to change entirely AI and cameras, like our brain works, which is neural nets and eyes. Yep, just slow down for a speed bump, which is cool. And just slow down for another speed bump. And we did not program in. There's no line of code that says slow down for speed bumps. So it is doing this based entirely on video training. And there's a bicyclist. Again, there is no line of code that says give clearance to bicyclists. It is just doing what people do. It can read sign. Once again, there is no line of code that says stop at a sign or wait for another car.
Who came first or whatever.
Or who came? There's not like wait X number of seconds. Nothing like that. Nothing. This is all. We'll change the pin. It's like drop it somewhere else random. Maybe we'll run into Zuckerberg and we can challenge him to a fight. That'd be fun. Spice it up. He's not traveling somewhere to his backyard. Here we are at a roundabout. So roundabouts are obviously pretty complicated.
It's waited for those two cars.
Yep, it just waited for those two cars to go and then did the turn. Again, I've been somewhat repetitive about this, but we have never programmed in the concept of a roundabout. We just showed a whole bunch of videos of roundabouts. I mean, you definitely need a lot of training data video training data in order to make this work. And you need really billions of dollars of training hardware, and you need to know how to run the neural net training hardware. So it's not like easy, but the mind-blowing thing is that there are no heuristics. There's no like lines of code. Like there's a guy on a scooter. It doesn't know what a scooter is. It doesn't know what paddles are. It's literally just been given a lot of video, and it's doing all of this on hardware 3 with about 100 watts of inference compute. Not some like massive data center. And if we were offline, there would be no difference. This is locally, all the inference that's happening is local. It does not need an internet connection. And obviously that's necessary because if you lost your cellular internet connection, the car needs to drive safely. But we could be somewhere where there is no internet connection, and it's basically it's similar to we got to our destination, so I'll just pick a new destination here. Just like some sort of random place here. Or somewhere. Hello, assassins! If you want to get me, now's your chance. You just need to be in Palo Alto. Like the assassin count is low in Palo Alto. So we just dropped a sort of random pin. We don't know where we're going. 12 test drivers around the world. So we've got people in I think like New Zealand and like Thailand and Norway,
Japan, everywhere. Because you should generalize. The concept of driving is general. You don't need to like just do it in the US. You could do it everywhere simultaneously.
Right, exactly. Just like a human can go travel to a country they've never been to before and rent a car and drive around and be, maybe not quite as good as someone local, but you can still rent a car in a foreign country and drive around. And we just have like some students over there that one of them stumbled briefly into the road and the car drove around. So here we are at a roundabout. The car is. I've never been to this roundabout before, and the car is not specifically trained on this. So it waited for the correct amount of time, drove smoothly around the roundabout. again, I will be somewhat repetitive, but there is no line of code that says this is a roundabout. There is nothing that says wait, X number of seconds, which is what we have in the explicit control stack. That's the sort of version 11. There's over 300,000 lines of C++ in the explicit control stack of version 11, and there's basically none of that in version 12.
Yeah, and just because there's no lines of code doesn't mean that it's not controllable. It's still like quite controllable on what you want by just adding data. Now you have to program with data instead of programming with code.
Yeah, data curation, and then whenever we find that there's something, say if the car doesn't perform perfectly, we give it more examples of what it should do in that situation, and it updates the weights, and then it works.
Yeah, and also we have labelers cleaning and making sure that all the data that goes in is like the good driving data, not like the bad drivers from, there are bad drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important. The quality of the data is very important. So large amounts of mediocre data do not improve driving.
It's quite the opposite, actually.
Yeah, it makes it worse. So that's why the data curation is actually quite difficult. And I should say there is quite a bit of software around what data, so selecting what data to train the system with.
Yeah.
So
the software that runs in the car is minimal, but the software in the back end to train is like much larger and much more sophisticated.
Exactly. So we do use the normal software for C++ basically for Python for deciding what data to select from the fleet, and then figuring out what is the high quality data versus the pretty good data.
And once we have a model, we also ship those models in shadow mode to the cars, and then every time it disagrees with what the user did,
exactly.
then you can get the data back, and then kind of that is more valuable than just collecting random data.
Yeah, exactly. So so we feel good about actually having a very rapid virtuous cycle where when there is an intervention in the fleet, with that intervention automatically being uploaded to training, being integrated with training, and then updating really just the weights. So it's not the binary that's changing, it's the weight. But we have not programmed in the concept of traffic lights. So there's not like, oh, this is a red light, this is a green light, and this is the traffic light position. We have that in the normal stack, but we do not have that in V12. This is just video training. Like I said, nothing but neural net, and yet it knows which light applies to it, and it stops at a red light, accelerates at a green light. Now, one of the sort of maybe slightly funny challenges we've had is that since the car is being trained on what humans do, humans almost never stop fully at a stop street. So when they get to a stop sign, humans actually almost never go to 0 miles an hour. They may think they did, but usually they're doing at least a few miles an hour at a stop, coming up to a stop street. Sometimes people go faster than that, but the regulators are they're really quite insistent that we go to come to a complete stop at stop signs. And when we looked at the data, only 5% of the time do humans actually stop fully.
Even lower than that. 0.5%.
0.5%?
Yeah,
wow. Okay, so
it's
basically
rare.
people almost never fully stop at stop signs. So we had to...
Even if you look at those data, it's like a lot of them come to a stop and they get on their phone or something. It's not just regular people doing the stops.
Yeah, and they might semi-stop and then move a little bit and that kind of thing. Sorry. Okay, so that's our first intervention because the car should be going straight. So, that's why we don't release it to the public yet. So an intervention at this traffic light. That's the first intervention in the whole drive. Programmed in the notion of a turn lane or anything like that,
or even a lane.
We doesn't even know what we've never. There's no line that says. There's no line of code about traffic lanes at all.
Internal to its mind, it might know all these concepts and how we think about it, lanes and like those, but we've just not explicitly asked for it.
Yeah, well, just like humans. Yeah. All right, we've arrived at this random pin.
Try to pull over. Let's see if it does. Same thing.
Yeah, so it kind of. So this is pretty cool. So the car just pulled over to the side of the road and. Of its destination based on the video that's received. That at the end of the destination, you pull over to the side and park.
Yeah,
and
it also gets the exact pin location in addition to the navigation route. So just pin is close. It's a good spot here. It puts over here, but in big parking lots where there might not be any map, it should just go as close to the pin as possible.
Right, exactly.
Even without any route.
Yeah, in fact, in sort of robotaxi world, it would actually just, probably perhaps know what you look like and just literally look for you.
Yeah. If you have a picture or something, you can just
Yeah,
look for
exactly. It's like if you're signed up and it's like, just say, you don't have to, but if you want the car to literally find you, you just have to send it a picture of you and it will look for you and wait for you.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also say, drop me off at the Starbucks or something.
Yeah.
You should drop me off at the building's entrance.
The car is very, very polite with pedestrians. So it's stopped to wait for the couple to pass by, and now it's continuing to drive. It's headed back to Tesla Global Engineering Headquarters at Palo Alto. Let's see, how does it react to low visibility conditions is one of the questions.
Yeah,
like at night and stuff, or rain and stuff.
It slows down in rain and then drives at lower speed. And for occluded intersections, it kind of like crawls forward and then checks the vehicles coming. That's one of the areas that we're trying to improve even more than just doing it right now.
Yeah, and one of the reasons we definitely need training from all around the world is that the weather in California is amazing, and it's as the song goes, like basically never rains in California. It's like sunny and nice almost all the time.
And the drivers are pretty nice too.
Yeah, the drivers here are quite polite.
We need some aggressive drivers and also pedestrians.
We'll see how it is in the parking lot. So because parking lots are complicated, especially the Tesla parking lot, which is jam-packed. So probably pretty full even on a Friday night, a Friday evening. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock on a Friday. Yeah, this is a fairly tricky light. You got two controlled lefts and two straight, basically two turn lanes and two straight lanes.
And it's sort of like merge after this turn, which is also interesting.
Exactly, it's got to turn and merge simultaneously. Now, one of the interesting things about pure AI driving is that it actually doesn't need a map at all. So we could delete the navigation system, simply give it a GPS point and say, get to this GPS point somehow. We're not going to tell you how. You could say, like, you see that building in the distance? Go there. And it would do that even with it might make some, there is no explicit map of the parking lot, so now it is just trying to get to a GPS point.
Yeah, they're putting new superchargers here.
That's it. Alright, so that was the FSD 12 beta drive. Super smooth, one intervention which will fix.
자, 영상 잘 보셨나요? 뭐 좀 어려울 수 있는데 간단하게 핵심을 정리해드리겠습니다. 40여 분간 하드웨어 3.0 9버전입니다. 이걸로 엔드-투-엔드 뉴럴넷을 통한 FSD 주행 성능을 테스트했습니다. 총 3번의 목적지를 변경했고요. 40분이 넘는 주행 중 딱 한 번만 인간 개입이 있었습니다. 40분 동안 3개의 목적지를 찾아가면서 딱 한 번 인간이 개입했다? 영상 말미에 일론 머스크가 우버 기사한테 평점 4.5점을 매기겠다. 5점을 안 준 이유는 개입을 한 번 했기 때문이다 라고 이렇게 우스갯소리로 던졌는데 그래도 엄청나게 대단하지 않습니까? 그리고 영상에는 이제 과속 방지턱도 지나고 로터리도 회전하고 자전거 및 보행자 인식을 보여주는 등 주변 환경과 다양한 상호작용을 보여줍니다. 그런데 이게 AI가 전부 다 비디오 트레이닝을 하고 판단한 것이라고 합니다. 머스크가 한 말이 진짜 인상 깊었는데요. 이 과속 방지턱이나 로터리를 처음 보는 것이다. 그런데 이게 사람이 마치 무언가를 배우듯 기계한테 이게 뭔지 안 알려줘도 알아서 한다는 거예요. 이게 마치 사람의 신경망이 작동하는 방식이다. 뉴럴 네트워크를 이용한 방식이다 라고 하는 거죠. 그리고 두 번째로는 원래는 소프트웨어와 AI를 함께 썼는데 이번에는 퓨어 AI로 썼다. 그게 바로 버전 12가 다른 이유다. 원래 이전 버전인 11에서는 대략 30만 개 이상의 코드로 처리되었는데 버전 12에서는 단 3만 줄의 코드만 필요할 정도로 상당히 단순하고 효율화했다라고 주장을 합니다. 세 번째로는 자동주차 및 스마트 서먼 기능에 대해서 설명을 합니다. 진짜 자율주행이 코앞으로 왔다라는 생각이 들죠. 그리고 또 최근에 샌프란시스코 지역에서 구글의 웨이모나 GM의 크루즈 같은 기업이 아예 사람이 없는 무인 로보택시를 실제로 운영하고 있습니다. 여러 유튜브들이 이걸 비교하는 영상을 찍어놨더라고요. 그런데 뭐 직접 확인해 보시면 아직까지는 이 테슬라가 압도적임을 직접 눈으로 확인하실 수가 있으실 거예요. 이렇듯 테슬라 차량 내부의 인공지능은 인지, 판단, 제어를 거의 완벽하게 해내고 있습니다. 게다가 새로 개발되고 있는 테슬라의 슈퍼컴퓨터 도조를 이용해서 인공지능 학습을 더 부스트한다면 곧 자율주행과 로보택시의 시대가 오지 않을까? 저도 처음엔 의심 정말 많이 했는데 이게 1년 지날 때마다 기술의 발전이 너무 명확하게 보여지고 있습니다. 여러분은 자율주행 만약에 실현된다면 언제쯤 가능하다고 생각하시는지요? 댓글 달아주시면 정말 감사하겠습니다.